Good evening, and thanks for joining us here on Speed Racing Network. I'm Greg Olenek, joined by Brandon Domain, as always, here on Thursday nights. We're at Nashville Superspeedway, a great racetrack here historically for SRN. Been some pretty good races here in the past. Looking forward to another good one here tonight, Brandon.
Absolutely. This is our third time to the concrete mile and a third out in Tennessee, as the first couple times we went out here, just 2 cautions, the first race 3, and the second race, each of them had almost 10 different leaders in those separate races as well. So a lot of action out here and some good quality racing on this track as well.
Yeah, 1 week removed from these boys racing, or excuse me, 2 weeks removed from these boys racing at New Hampshire. Had a bye week last week. Joshua Susie getting his first ever win here in Speed Racing Network. We'll see if he can make some noise again here tonight. Cole Martin, Max Service, Jacob Manning, Daniel Bowler. That was your top 5 last week, so let's see how that shook things up in the point standings. Jacob Manning still at the top with a healthy gap over Joshua Ballietto. Jacob Manning still without a win. Joby Ray, Kyle Benson, Cole Martin there. That's your top 5 here in points. Jeff Radke, that first car below the cut line.
He is, and he doesn't have a whole lot of company in close proximity behind him, though, so there is that opportunity that he could always make that jump up there. There's not a whole lot of traffic at this point, as we're just past the halfway point in the regular season as we close out 2022 here tonight, as we won't see everybody until 2023. That's weird to say, but we go to that second page, and this is what I'm talking about. You got Bo Tiffany and Dalton McKinney within 11 points at that cut line, but then you got to go another 15 points to get to Nathan De La Rosa, Bobby Anderson, Cole Sacchetti, Adrian Schumacher. It's tightly packed from 19th on back, but there's a pretty good point gap there, but still a little bit of time there to sort that out.
Yeah, plenty of drivers still within reach of making some noise here in these last couple of races before we get to the playoffs, and once we get those drop weeks included, that will definitely shake things up as well. So let's go ahead and check out last week's results in the team standings from week 7. Close one between Tank Racing and JBR, but that one going to go to Tank Racing 77-70. HLR Highline Racing getting the 1-point win over Blackout 74-73, 106-97. That's the advantage for JW over Phoenix last week, and Murray Reedy getting a pretty solid win over Barr with a short roster there last week, 90-39. Pretty close matchups up and down the board.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, you see 3 of them all separated by less than 10 points out there, and that's the kind of racing that we were hoping this format was going to provide. Every single week there's something to be going out there for on the team side. They're just now getting to the halfway point of the regular season for the team side of things, as they got that 3-race playoff to close out the season. So this one going to be running all the way through week number 17. But it's a tightly grouped pack there as well on the team side of things, just like we saw on the results last week.
Yeah, so let's check out those standings here in the Silverback Tax Series. JW Tank Racing still 6-1 apiece there for both of those teams, looking like they might be going head-to-head here once we get to week 18, but don't count out Murray Reedy Motorsports, Phoenix Virtual Racing, and then a 3-way tie from 5th to 7th there from JBR, Barr, and Highline Racing, all 2-4-1, and then Blackout there at 2-5. That's going to be your 8th seed so far, really close at the top of the board.
Yeah, only a race and a half separating 3rd all the way down to 8th place, so that's still going to be very close. Big advantage right now goes to Murray Reedy and Phoenix Virtual, not only because of those 3 wins that they have up there, but look at that yellow column as well. They're also in the top 4 in points scored as well. That could be a heavy tiebreaker to be holding for that 3-4 matchup, potentially moving up into that 1-2 matchup for the playoffs, as that point scored will be the differentiator if there is a tie.
Well, I'll ask you this: what matchup sticks out the most here for Week 8? You got Blackout going up against JBR, Barr going up against JW, Murray Reedy Motorsports, and Highline Racing going head-to-head, and Tank and PVR, they're going to be going head-to-head here tonight at Nashville. Which one are you looking at?
Well, I was going to say Tank and PVR coming into this because that's an opportunity for Phoenix to really pull back Tank a little bit, and PVR has been looking pretty good. They're going to be a little short-handed tonight, though. That kind of moves my focus up to that Murray, Reedy, and Highline race, as that one is going to be kind of the separator. Murray, Reedy with an opportunity to kind of clear the pack a little bit. Highline with an opportunity to move themselves into that conversation for the 3-4 playoff series, so that's got a lot of implications there.
Yeah, so that's a look at your Week 8 matchups, big matchups up and down the board. But before we get out there on the track, as these guys start to grid up here with qualifying all wrapped up, got to give a big shout out, as always, to Butt Kicker for coming on board here this season. Check out buttkicker.com to see all the products that they have to offer. Perfect gift for the sim racer in your life this holiday season. A great piece of equipment if you're here on iRacing, Brandon.
Yeah, absolutely. Tremendous piece of equipment, one that I'm happy to say I finally get to have in my possession here. So that one will be a fun experience. It's gotten to kind of mess with it before, but this will be my first time actually having one. Looking forward to that. Very excited to have my own experience to talk about there with the Butt Kicker.
Yeah, man. Enjoy it. I know you just got that recently, so enjoy it once you get it all hooked up. As always, too, we got to give a big shout out to TJ's Team Foundation for coming on board here as well. It's the season for giving. Go ahead, check out morethan-a-cape.org and give if you can. It's a foundation that helps out families battling pediatric cancer. So if you have the time, please go ahead and check them out. So, Brandon, what do you say? We get out there on the track. Looks like these boys are going to start heading out there behind the pace car. You're looking at the man on the point. He's got the number on the side of his door. Kyle Benson starting number 1 here tonight. Jacob Manning, he's going to be outside pole just 6 thousandths of a second. And then Susie, there last week's winner, 9 thousandths of a second off the pole here. So a really tight field with Seth Freed on the outside row 2.
In position number 5, it'll be Logan Truitt for Jonathan Byer Racing. On the outside of row 3, Murray Reedy Motorsports' Craig Lautenslager. It'll be Michael Larch and Landon Cardulo, who's jumping up from the Truck Series here tonight in row number 4. Devin Zimmerman and Daniel Bowdler in row number 5. Row 6, Vincent Cortez and Austin Reedy.
All right, Brandon, so we've been here a couple of times here so far here in Speed Racing Network's history. So we know what we got here on the field or on the track. Who are you picking here tonight?
Well, it's been a bit of a boomer bust season, but I'm going to go with the man starting in position number 4. I'm going to go with Seth Reed. Strong performance in a winning race last season here at Nashville. I think he's got a good shot at duplicating that once again.
I'm going to take it. I'm going to take the low-hanging fruit here, and I'm taking the pole sitter here tonight. Kyle Benson, who starts number 1, got the 1 on the door. Feeling good about his chances here tonight as we are approaching that Geico restart zone, and that Silverback Tax Solutions green flag waves here for the first time in Nashville. Here the car is wound up through the first stretch of this track, coming right at you here on the back stretch. Kyle Benson able to pull out to the lead now, separate himself from the outside pole. Jacob Manning, he's got some pressure now from his teammate Josh Susie, looking to the inside of the 50.
Oh, Susie getting real loose, though, trying to keep that thing held down to the inside on the exit of turn 4. That's going to lose him a lot of momentum, give Manning the opportunity to clear going back into turn 1. And we're going to see Logan Truitt being one of the first ones to try that ultra-high line for at least Nashville standards, see if he can make that stick. He did get around Lautenslager. He's going to tuck in behind Reed.
Yeah, so single file from 1st through 8th here tonight. Devin Zimmerman, though, to the inside of, I believe this is Landon Cardulo, showing 13 on the scoreboard, 12 on the scoreboard, but he's in the 35 car, it looks like. So that's Landon Cardulo on the outside of the 93, your first side-by-side battle.
And they're doing a good job. This is one of those tracks, though, you don't necessarily want to be on the outside too long. It's just got more rubber built up on the inside, especially as the race progresses. That inside line, the primary line for sure, going around this concrete racetrack, especially if you can hook it really low down towards that yellow line. You get a little bit extra grip going around this racetrack.
So Logan Truitt up to 4th now. Is getting by Susie. Susie back to 5th, who was looking really fast, maybe just saving his stuff here. Traditionally here on SRN, Brandon, this track promotes long green flag runs, so maybe looking in the history books and taking some notes here for the 53.
Yeah, 205 laps run over the 2 seasons, just 5 cautions over those 205 laps. So not many caution flags have been flying out here in Nashville. So that might be a trend we might see. These guys kind of thinking that this race might go on a long run. If it does go on a long run, the fuel mileage is going to be a heavy play today, as they're going to be going right past halfway, but not by much in how much fuel these cars are holding tonight.
So Kyle Benson out to about a 4 or 5 car length gap over Jacob Manning there in the 50s. Seth Reed, who's up 1 position from where he started, that's 3rd place. Wow, he's right on the bumper of his teammate. Get loose there out of 4. That's what we're going to see here a lot tonight. One of these tracks where that wall just really sneaks up on you out of 4. You got to be careful to not overstep through those turns, because you will smack the wall. We will see that probably a few times here tonight.
Yeah, it really does. It's kind of awkward, because normally when you see one of those tri-oval type front straightaways, turn 4 is a little bit easier of an exit at most tracks. Here, it's just so easy to get loose off of 4. I think it kind of baits people into really drifting that car up a little bit more than they kind of anticipate, and that wall does really jump out at you. You're also seeing that apron there that we typically see on tri-oval tracks. Ooh, a little bit of a wall scrape there for Kyle. That apron there, not really going to come into play too much. It's pretty narrow, a big transition there from the front straightaway. So you're not going to see that like we have at, say, at Las Vegas or at Kansas or Kentucky.
It's weird to say it, but the wall on the front stretch, I believe, is painted black, and it is kind of, it's tricky, or it's a dark blue that's in the shadows. It's very tricky. It's deceiving sometimes, because you see a shadow there on the outside, and it makes you kind of second guess where that wall actually is. So you saw Kyle Benson scrape the wall not too long ago, and not surprising to see that.
Yeah, it's kind of weird, too, because I think the exit of turn 2, it feels wider than the exit of turn 4, and I think that also kind of gets these guys a little bit comfortable on the exit of 4, just because of drivers live on repetition around the racetrack, and I think when you get comfortable out of turn 2, you kind of get that muscle memory and how you're exiting the turn coming out of turn 4, and it just makes that wall jump out even more. Turn 2 is kind of the easier one out here, even though you're having that bit of a sharper transition going from the turn towards that flat portion of the back straightaway wall. This is kind of an awkward racetrack, and then you throw in the concrete surface in there as well, which is going to keep these cars pretty loose throughout the run.
Yeah, very similar to the surface at Dover Motor Speedway. Both tracks currently owned, well, they were owned by the same company, now all absorbed by Speedway Incorporated. But yeah, 2 concrete tracks. It's a very different driving surface, some that drivers prefer and some that really don't prefer, because tire wear is definitely going to come and play a big factor tonight. These lines are they're going to be different. There's a lot of lore to that outside lane, because yeah, you can diamond it, but you're going to be eating up those tires doing that. Right now, Seth Reed looking good on that bottom line.
Yeah, and it's kind of, to kind of leave the concrete part of this, it kind of reminds me of Texas a little bit, and how, talking about the width of the racetrack and the driving line of the racetrack, you have to really keep this thing down low. That outside line is there. You could really go 4 lanes to the outside from that primary line, but it's just so detrimental to the pace of the car. The momentum of the car just doesn't work as well, really destroys the tires as well. So you're seeing all that space, and half of it is pretty well unusable for much of the race, unless you absolutely need to go up there to avoid something, or just to try to get a run of something. It's just not too usable, so there's a lot of dead space on the racetrack.
Austin Reedy getting on by Devin Zimmerman there, the 96 passing the 93, that for 13. So not many battles happening anywhere on the track. Like we said, traditionally this track promotes some really single file racing, but right now a battle at the front. Kyle Benson under attack from Seth Reed, who's been kind of picking these guys off one at a time up here up at the front, and right now he wants to lead this thing.
Yeah, race winner from a season ago here at Nashville. And our 2 picks going side by side into turns 1 and 2 here, going for that lead. Reed on the inside, Benson on the outside, and that primary line on that inside should prevail here. You're still going to get that momentum push for Benson on the outside, but I think by the time they come out of turn 4, that 51 is going to be clear.
Yeah, definitely clear of the 1. He's trying to bring his teammate along with him. Jacob Manning now to the inside of Kyle Benson. They're going to be side-by-side drag racing to the start-finish line. Seth Reed, he's not worried about it. he's in the clear. And don't take your eyes off that 65, who's now creeping into the picture as well. Logan Truitt looking pretty fast here tonight, too. Could we see another first-time winner here tonight?
That, you know what, it wouldn't be shocking to see Logan Truitt do that. He's had a very solid season out here, and, you know, he's kind of been running in that 11 to 20 kind of finishing order for half the races, but he's also on back-to-back top 10s here for the first time this season. We've seen his name up there in the top 3 in the point standings for a bit as well. Currently in this race in 7th, but a strong season for Logan. I think he's been one of the most improved drivers as well here in the Xfinity Series.
Yeah, definitely, and made a name for himself last season as well, getting that playoff lucky dog and making some noise in those playoffs. Jonathan Byer Racing looking to make some noise here tonight after getting the win last week in their matchup in the team standings. So looking to keep that momentum going as they have to make up some ground in those standings. But right now, set 3, Jacob Manning, they clear Kyle Benson. Kyle settles in third, just in front of that 65.
And earlier tonight, I mentioned while making the pick, it's been a bit of a boom or bust season for Seth. And what I mean by that, I mean, he's still sitting 9th in the point standings, but he's been pretty hot and cold. He's got 3 top 10 finishes, but then also 3 finishes outside of the top 20. So it's been kind of one of those seasons where it's either really good or really bad there for Seth. And a lot of that has been, when it's been really bad, just kind of getting caught in the wrong spot at the wrong time. Easy way to fix that, get that 51 car out in front. It's a whole lot harder to find trouble out there when you're leading the race and you got your teammate behind you especially.
Yeah, that clean air certainly is nice to have, especially at tracks where it's difficult to pass, like here at Nashville Superspeedway. So pretty much single file through the whole field. We'll try and go through and see if we can find some good matchups. Right now, Max Service, who's up 2 spots from where he started here tonight, up to 20th. 29 cars in the field, so a smaller field than we're used to seeing here in the Xfinity Series, but a very strong field at that.
It's a strong field, a smaller field, but that is going to promote a little bit cleaner racing as well because there's going to be more space out on the racetrack. And I think those long runs, that's going to suit a guy like a Max Service there in the 81 as he's taking a look to the inside of Bo Tiffany. This might be 3 wide with Nathan De La Rosa on the far outside as well. Max is going to think better of that, so that would have been a really tight exit off of 2 going 3 wide.
I can hear those guys in my head saying, are we really going 3 wide back here in 20th? And yes, in fact, you are, but yeah, you got to pick them off where you can. He thinks better of it, and they all single file out here for the time being. So we'll try and find some other good battles right now. Vincent Cortez here in the 23 Pit Stop TV. He's trying to make up some ground up 3 spots just in front of Daniel Bowdler. That's a good-looking 23 out of Tank Racing. Good to see Vincent Cortez out here. Very quiet but strong years so far in the standings.
Yeah, and it's been rough the past couple of weeks for him, and he's dropped in those standings, but it's been a strong start. He had 4 top 10s to start, 3 straight outside of it, but a lot of that has come from connection issues that he's been struggling with on the racetrack and kind of starting to blink a little excessively on the racetrack, having to pull it off the track or give up a lot of positions. He has been one of the stronger drivers out there, though, when he hasn't had those issues. So keep an eye on that 23 tonight, who's sitting in 8th, might be moving up a little bit farther than that too soon.
Yeah, you see here, he's not listed here on these standings, which is pretty much the cut line battle here in the Silverback Tax Series. Bowdler sitting there, 21 points to the good. He's having a good run just behind Vincent Cortez, so going to need to keep that solid run. Feels pretty comfortable right now with his teammate Logan Joyner behind him, but Kyle Spees also listed here. He's had some good momentum lately, but right now he is running 13th, so running towards that danger zone here in the mid-pack. Can't afford to lose too many more positions, so we'll see if anybody can make up some ground here tonight.
Yeah, and it's smaller field, so that's going to make it where, you know, if you're running this one, you're not going to lose as many points if you have a bad night, but if you're not running this, anybody that is guaranteed to make up a pretty decent chunk of points on you. And we talked about the drop weeks earlier. Those are going to start being factored in around week 10, so we're not too far away from that. Remember, 3 worst finishes that qualify, at least there's some stipulations there, of course, but the 3 worst finishes that qualify will be dropped over the course of the season, and that, of course, will shake up the standings as well.
Keeping an eye on this battle for the time being because these guys are getting tighter and tighter. This battle for 8th among 2 of the better drivers here in the Xfinity Series. You got Bowdler, Logan Joyner, he's a defending champion. Bowdler, who's one of the most winningest drivers in Speed Racing Network history. And Vincent Cortez, who's won his fair share of races as well. So some talented drivers here. And no, don't forget Landon Cardulo just behind them, who's won his fair share of truck races too.
Yeah, absolutely. And you know what? I'll say this about Cortez, too. One of the highest rated drivers in the series also. He just really runs well in those officials. I think I'll see him up there at like 2 a.m. running sessions at times. And he's sitting there in the 4,000s, which is a very high number. Really strong driver there for that 23. But like you said, a lot of wins sitting right behind him there with Bowdler, Joyner, and Cardulo over all 3 series here in SRN.
Yeah, so we'll see if, just taking it easy right now. Nobody seems to be putting pressure on anybody, and I think that's indicative.
I would take that back, because up front we got Jacob Manning has just made his way around Seth Reed. That just happened in turns 3 and 4 pretty quickly, actually, and that also opened the door for Kyle Benson to make his way back by the 51.
Yeah, I kind of have a tendency to do those kind of things. So I'll say something just after it happens, and you're exactly right. The 50 now out in front, the third lead change of the night here, so looking good in that 50, and this is about that time that you see who's saving better than who.
Yeah, we're right at about halfway through the fuel run as well. You're looking at about 50 to 55 laps, somewhere on there, depending on how you're attacking this racetrack. There's going to be some guys that are going to be trying to conserve a little bit to make sure that they can reach this thing to the full end of the race on just one stop. It's going to be close. Everybody should be good there, but if you're ultra aggressive, you may put yourself in a little bit of harm's way there.
Seth Reed falling in a hurry now, is sitting in 5th and in danger of falling out of the top 5 here as his teammates going right on by just behind him now. Michael Larch in that 52. Josh Susie just got in front of him there in the 53. Lautenslager sitting there now, and you're starting to see Vincent Cortez and Daniel Bowdler make their way up here in the picture too.
Yeah, and I think that's just a bit of the traffic that we're seeing with Susie starting to drop, or excuse me, Reed starting to drop back, and everybody kind of scattering that little bit. I think that's what just pulled Cortez and Bowdler up into the picture a little bit more. For Reed, I don't know if he's really worn out the tires or lost pace, or if he just kind of aggravated those tires, getting stuck on the outside while they're worn. Might have picked up a little bit more dust getting out of the groove and just made those tires uncomfortable for a little bit.
Now Benson back to the point where he started here tonight out in front in that one machine. Got to be careful there for the 50. Almost got into the wall. And Logan Truitt here on the prowl looking like he wants to take the lead. It's pretty much musical chairs now out in front with these lead changes.
Yeah, they're kind of doing one of those swap run kind of things where somebody gets to the point and then a couple laps later they start to drop back towards the back of things. And we're starting to see some of these guys start to take the apron as well. And I think part of that is just trying to gain a little bit of a shortcut advantage. It's risky because of that drop-off from the concrete down to the asphalt. You're changing surfaces, but also changing a pretty decent banking as well. Could really upset that car. But both Manning and Reed, both seen them do it. They've handled it pretty well thus far.
Yeah, great side-by-side battle. That's not going anywhere. Manning, we thought was going to be under attack from Benson, putting up a great fight. Logan Truitt just has to sit here and kind of wait, see how it works out. Not willing to take it 3 wide just yet, but he's going to try and go on by Kyle Benson now. Sitting behind these guys battling can pay off for you sometimes because you're just sitting there being patient, waiting for your point.
Yeah, and you're going to keep those tires nice and calm. They're going to stay underneath the car. You're not going to put any excess pressure on them. And like I was just saying about the 51 of Seth Reed a moment ago, sometimes you get out of the groove and it just upsets those tires, gets a little bit dirty up there when you get out of that groove and you get out of the rubber a little bit. That's being laid down on that inside line. Oh, caution.
Jonathan Byer. 30 laps in the book, and we have our first caution of the night. That's going to be the 13 machine of Jonathan Byer here. Let's see if we can queue up that admin box rec replay and figure out exactly what just happened. So on the outside of the 49, that's Bo Tiffany. Had a rough race last night in the Truck Series and gets into the 13 here tonight, so that could be another cause caution for Bo Tiffany. He's got to be careful with one this early. Got to be careful not to have any incidents here in this latter part, but could be a racing incident too. We'll have to see what the admins say.
Yeah, that's going to be a touchy one. It could be a racing incident. It could be seen as a Bo Tiffany calls caution just by getting down to the inside. I think he just clipped the apron a little bit, and it launched him up about a half groove, but there was just enough gap that he made up there on that inside line to get into the 13 and get him turned around. One thing this is going to do, really shake up this race strategy, though, because while we were talking about people maybe being able to make it on one stop, you can't go 70 laps here at Nashville.
I love me some race strategy, Brandon, and looking like everybody's going to do the same strategy, and that's bring it down pit road. 30 laps on these tires, you'd get eaten up in a heartbeat here with the concrete surface.
Yeah.
Your restarts wouldn't be that great. It's just you don't want to be that person.
No, that's you were able to pull off that little bit of a longer strategy there for a while last night at New Hampshire.
Horsepower.
Very different situation here tonight on the concrete where we're carrying a whole lot more speed as we see everybody make their way down pit road, it looks like.
Looking like Manning is going to be the first one off pit road. Benson, Susie, Reed, and Larch. That's going to be your top 5 once they get this thing all gridded back up.
Man, what a run so far for the JW Racing guys right now with Manning, Susie, Reed, and Larch all in the top 5. Only one breaking that up going to be that one car of Kyle Benson, but a great start there for that JWR tandem, but group of 4 that's running up there in the top 5 right now.
Well, do not go anywhere. A great race so far. First caution of the night. We're going to step aside, run a quick commercial break. Don't go anywhere.
With the Butt Kicker Gamer 2, what you see and what you hear is what you feel. Butt Kicker. The future is feeling.
Want to be a part of an established league on iRacing? A league that's competitive, fun, and above all fair? Look no further than Speed Racing Network. Originally known as Mid-South Madness, SRN has evolved into a league that can bring the best out in any given driver. Drivers work their way up through the ranks to hopefully one day call themselves a champion of Speed Racing Network. If you're interested in joining, don't hesitate to reach out to league admins to claim your spot today. Maybe you'll end up in the history books. If you're interested in becoming a sponsor in Speed Racing Network, feel free to head over to www.speedracingnetwork.com and reach out to an admin today. And as always, remember to go faster.
Silverback Tax Solutions specializes in dealing with IRS tax problems. If you are receiving threatening letters from the IRS, or if the IRS has placed liens or levies on your property, Silverback Tax Solutions can help you find relief. We have worked with hundreds of people to resolve their tax problems. If you're behind on filing your taxes, it's never too late to get on the right track. Silverback Tax Solutions can help with that also. Don't let another night go by where you lose sleep worrying about the IRS or your taxes. Head over to www.silverbacktacks.com or call 662-996-4357 and contact an enrolled agent today. We can help you gain peace of mind and deal with those problems for you. Well, back out here on the track at Nashville Superspeedway, the iRacing pace car lights are off. We're going to get that thing kicked back off. Jacob Manning opted to start on that outside line. Saw that a lot last night, Brandon.
Yeah, and I think it's just a comfort thing, and with the way that you can get these restarts, he's trusting that he's going to get a good jump here, can get clear, and really take advantage of being able to drift that car down towards the bottom, which is a much more well-liked line around turns 1 and 2, so he's taking that gamble that he's going to get a jump and get clear.
Well, across the Geico restart zone, the first restart of the night here after a caution for Jacob Manning. on the point here. Gets a good jump over Kyle Benson and sets sail through 1 and 2.
Yeah, gamble paid off there for the 50 car as he did get to that inside line pretty easily. Oh, Kyle Benson, a pretty big blink there. He's going to have to keep an eye on that. Hopefully for him, that's just a one-off situation there. But either way, he is just the meat in a JW Racing sandwich right now, as they are 1, 3, 4, 5 out on the racetrack. A PVR tandem sitting in 6th and 7th with Bowler and Joyner. So this is kind of interesting. We might start seeing some team strategies start coming into play here.
Well, watching from the blimp cam as these guys go just under the blimp. Austin Reedy the outside of Balliet. They get real close there off of 2. Stay side by side all the way down the backstretch. This is for, looks like 12th place, and just in front of them, Vincent Cortez taking it 3 wide on the outside here, outside the 99, and that's Lana Cardulo on the inside. So this is a white knuckle moment for these boys.
Whew, that's a little bit of 3 wide there with Cardulo taken to the apron. Didn't quite get the run that he needed, but now it might go 3 wide. No, Vincent Cortez is going to lose a little bit too much momentum for that, so he's going to drop back from the outside line, but still side-by-side racing for Cardulo and Lautenschlager as they're just inside the top 10 racing for 9th and 10th. I think you got muted or something there, Greg, but as we watch this racing continue, kind of pick up for you here for a second, but we've got a big block here from Vincent Cortez to Craig Lautenschlager down the back straightaway. Lautenschlager going to hang on to him and try to get the nose to the inside, but just couldn't carry that momentum and loses a lot of it going through 3 and 4. That might open the window for Joshua Balliet to make up some ground there and maybe start working his way around the 99.
I don't know what's going on with my mic, but we'll see if it happens again and go from there. But yeah, you're exactly right. Great racing mid-pack, as a lot of these guys are starting to make some moves here towards the front. Seth Reed, he's going on by Daniel Bowler to take back 4th. He wants to get back up towards the front. We saw him charge his way up at the front, and he's got some work to do. Wow, he stepped way out right there. Whew. And Bowler gets into the wall a little bit.
Yeah, that made Daniel Bowler kind of alter his line and threw him off in the process and kind of scraping the wall. So both of them with a bit of a wild ride there coming off of turn 4. A big drift for Seth Reed in that 51. One thing I was noticing just before we cut to that, though, Michael Larch had something happen. I'm not sure if he got out of the groove or maybe got into the wall, but either way, he dropped back about 8 positions, and he's now sitting outside the top 10, running in, I believe it's 12th position, as Joshua Balliet works his way around him.
Well, there he is. You're exactly right, 12th position. Not sure. I don't see too much damage there on the car, so yeah, it must have been another thing where maybe got loose. Max Service gets right on the bumper here, so nobody cutting him any slack either right now.
Yeah, they are smelling blood in the water with that 52 being off pace right now. Whatever it was that happened, they know that he's kind of reeling at this moment, and I think everybody just saying, you know what, that's an opportunity for us to pick up another spot here. You mentioned it earlier, difficult to pass on this racetrack because there's a heavy primary line, so every opportunity you can, you're trying to take it.
Back out front, Jacob Manning still out in the lead here. Don't know why it says pit on the scoring pylon. Pretty much everything looks like it's taking a turn for the worse here tonight. But looking good so far for the 50 here. It's got a good lap or a good gap between him and Kyle Benson, but Kyle Benson not going anywhere after being the pole sitter here tonight. It's funny, the 3 guys that were separated by 9,000ths of a second, currently first, second, third.
Yeah, it's almost like speed carries over around this kind of a racetrack from qualifying to the race pace, and it's still a high-speed race. And one thing, too, we talk about all the tire wear, the fall-off not as heavy as you would imagine with the amount of tire wear that you see on this. Because of that concrete surface, you can still be pretty aggressive, still carry a lot of speed through this racetrack as well. Just doesn't get as tight and doesn't get as altered as you really think it would, as you kind of typically see on some of the flatter, smoother asphalt tracks. So there's still a lot of speed that carries through on this, and I think that just kind of bodes to those guys fast in qualifying typically stay fast throughout the race.
see on the backstretch cam here, pretty much single file all the way throughout the field. A smaller field than we're used to seeing. I know a lot of guys here saying they had stuff to do as we get closer to the holidays. That's pretty understandable, to say the least. Exactly why we're going to take 2 weeks off, but definitely hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, hit that little bell so you know exactly when we go live in the new year, the last race of 2022. Kind of crazy to say, considering Brandon and you and I have been here for a lot of them here this year. Great seasons in season 3 and 4.
Yeah, absolutely, and we'll all get a nice little break to enjoy holidays with family and friends, and here for the Silverback Tax Xfinity Series, we'll see everybody back on January 5th when everybody meets up in Montreal for the first visit at Circuit Gilles Villeneuve up there, and very technical road course, and after that it kind of evens out to a little bit more of the cookie cutter style for the rest of the regular season. So this is going to be an interesting transition after this 2-week hiatus.
Yeah, it's kind of fitting that the Montreal race slotted in right after a 2-week break to give these guys a lot of time to practice, because they're going to need it. Not an easy circuit by any means.
No, it's a highly tricky racetrack, a lot of tight corners, a lot of chicanes out there. And it's just one of those tracks. We saw it work in real life for the Xfinity Series really well. They always seem to put on a great race out there. I'm excited to see how that racing goes out here on the SRN Series for these Xfinity guys. I think it could be really, really good racing when we come back in 2023.
Great racing back here in the pack. Michael Large has dropped all the way back to 16th and now battling with Nathan De La Rosa. He's got Tyler Murray and Jonathan Byer just behind him too. So really heating up from about 15th on back here in the pack.
And I think with watching how Michael Larch has slid back, I think this is kind of telling you what happens on this racetrack, how important that clean air is out in front. We start seeing him get bottled up in the mid-pack, and then all of a sudden you're just caught in that hornet's nest, and it's real hard to keep any momentum going.
Well, Byer trying to make up from where he got spun out earlier, from coming back to the back of the pack and up to 17th. Trying to get that spot from the 16. Looks like he's going to go on by and secure that 17th position. But yeah, great battling here in the back of the pack. Still not seeing any change out in front. The only change is that Jacob Manning pulling away a little bit.
Yeah, he's pulling away, and really that whole top five starting to pull away from the rest of the field. You got about a second and a half going from Daniel Bowdler back to Logan Truitt in 6th, and then it stays pretty well packed beyond that, where everybody kind of separated by about a third of a second from each other from there on out. Still pretty well single file, but this group of 5 really looking strong here on this run. And keep in mind, I mean, we still got that 70 laps since from the last pit stop to the finish of this race, to the advertised distance of this race. Everybody's still going to need that one pit stop to get to the finish, so there's going to be a whole lot of strategy. Might see some undercuts, might see some overcuts, and how people are going to handle this, because that's at a really interesting point in the race. 70-lap run on about a 50 to 55-lap fuel run really lends to a lot of creative strategies that are available.
Well, past the halfway mark of this race, and yeah, Jacob Manning looking pretty strong. We mentioned it in the pre-race show. He is out in front of the point standings, but yet to score that first win of the season. We know that's important to him. We know how serious he takes this league here in Speed Racing Network, so I know he wants to put that 50 car in victory lane. But right now, he doesn't want to look in the mirror, because once again, his teammate Seth Reed, who you said was last year's winner here at Nashville, up to second now.
Yeah, and he seems to be kind of going reverse of what he did the last run. We're about 25 laps into this run here this time, and he's starting to move forward through there. So a little bit more patience on the front of the run here this time, and that might bode very well for Reed as he tries to chase down his teammate. And you mentioned yet to win this season for Jacob Manning, but what's got him out in front? 5 straight top 5 finishes since his only non-top 10 of the season that came at Gateway.
Yeah, sometimes, I would say I would take 5 straight top 5s over a win. That's going to definitely solidify your spot getting into the playoffs. But, man, to do that in the playoffs would be very good as well. You can't really complain about those numbers. So, yeah, Jacob Manning with a solid lead here so far in the Silverback Tax Series here on Thursday nights. But Max Service who's up 10 positions from where he started, up to 12 now, putting the pressure on his teammate here, Joshua Valiette, just in front of him.
Yeah, this is kind of one of those lengths of a run that really plays well to Max Service, and Joshua Valiette as well, but when I think long runs, I really look at that 81 car. Max just does a very good job. As the longer and longer a run goes, he just seems to not fall off as much as everybody. Really conservative on taking care of his tires early, picks his spots really well when he needs to be aggressive, and that just keeps the life in those tires and really maintains the speed out there. He's one of the better long-run drivers here in the series.
Yeah, so he's going to go ahead, just ride behind his teammate for a while, it looks like. See if he can maybe make up some more spots, get a top 10 finishing position here tonight, and help out those point standings here so far through 8 races here in the Silverback Tax Series. So right now, Jacob Manning still leading as we cross the stripe to complete lap 56.
Oh.
See a little dust kick up back there. Must be a new feature with this update. I've been seeing that a lot here in the last couple of races, so that's pretty indicative of when a car gets scraping that wall, I'd say.
Yeah, and that was the 51 of Seth Reed catching the wall just a little bit there. And we saw that a lot last night, too, since this update with those dust clouds coming off that wall, or I guess we just say tire smoke or something coming off the wall. Oh, big dive down to the inside for Michael Larch as he's going to take a peek to the inside of Nathan De La Rosa and give the spot to Larch with that aggressive dive down to the inside. See if De La Rosa can pull off a little bit of a crossover. Doesn't seem like he's got the momentum to do it.
Yeah, something must be feeling good in that 52 car now, as we saw him fall back here. Man, the pressure really on here, and he gets spun. He's spun.
Oh, into the 16 of Tyler Murray as well, as they made nose-to-nose contact on that one, and that was just aggressive racing gone wrong in turn 1. We'll have to take another look at some different angles to kind of get a better picture on that one. But just aggressive driving for 15th and 16th, caught up to De La Rosa and to Larch.
So we'll bring it up here on the blimp cam with the admin box rec replay here. We saw it live, gets a bump from De La Rosa into the turn and then gets turned. He finishes the job there in the 66. Can't imagine the admin's going to be too fond of that. But we will see what their ruling is. We'll take another look at it here.
Yeah, it was just a big dive to the inside for De La Rosa. He carried a lot of momentum getting into turn number 1. As we ride on the roof cam here in the 66, and you see that contact. He sees the 52 move up the racetrack, tries to fit that nose in between the apron and the left side of the 52, and Larch cut that car back down trying to block that run, or maybe just trying to gather that car back up, and the 66 was already there.
Yeah, so each and every driver going to bring it down pit road here to get their second stop of the night, and I believe this one will get them to the end here as we are on lap number 60. We'll find out what the ruling is from the admins here in just a moment, as they are probably still watching all the angles there. But we'll see who gets the best stop here. This is the money stop, as they say.
Certainly is. They can definitely make it the rest of the way. And everybody getting 4 tires out there, it appears. Doesn't look like anybody going to go 2. And we're going to see that 50 car get out in front. Seth Reed in second, Kyle Benson in third.
Yeah, you got Susie coming out in fourth, and Bowdler with a great launch out of his stall was watching that 6, and he picked up some spots, moves up to 5th. So that's going to be your top 5 as they make their way off of pit road. But with that, we'll step aside once again, run a quick commercial break, and come back with that second restart of the night here tonight.
Want to be a part of an established league on iRacing? A league that's competitive, fun, and above all fair? Look no further than Speed Racing Network. Originally known as Mid-South Madness, SRN has evolved into a league that can bring the best out in any given driver. Drivers work their way up through the ranks to hopefully one day call themselves a champion of Speed Racing Network. If you're interested in joining, don't hesitate to reach out to league admins to claim your spot today. Maybe you'll end up in the history books. If you're interested in becoming a sponsor in Speed Racing Network, feel free to head over to www.speedracingnetwork.com and reach out to an admin today. And as always, remember to go faster.
Silverback Tax Solutions specializes in dealing with IRS tax problems.
If you are receiving threatening letters from the IRS, or if the IRS has placed liens or levies on your property, Silverback Tax Solutions can help you find relief. We have worked with hundreds of people to resolve their tax problems. If you're behind on filing your taxes, it's never too late to get on the right track. Silverback Tax Solutions can help with that also. Don't let another night go by where you lose sleep worrying about the IRS or your taxes. Head over to www.silverbacttax.com or call 662-996-4357 and contact an enrolled agent today. We can help you gain peace of mind and deal with those problems for you.
With the Butt Kicker Gamer 2, what you see and what you hear is what you feel. Butt Kicker. The future is feeling.
All right, back out here on the track. We're going to kick things back off as those iRacing pace car lights are off. Set 3, Jacob Manning, that's going to be your front row. Jacob Manning opting to take that high line. And then second row going to be Kyle Benson, Josh Susie, Bowdler, Logan Truitt. That's going to be your third row. Looks like Vincent Cortez and Logan Joyner, row 4. Joshua Balliet, Craig Lottenslager going to round out your top 10.
Yeah, we're starting to see a couple of those guys start moving into that top 10. You mentioned Joshua Balliet. He's won. Max Service now up to 11th. Austin Reedy into that top 12 as well. So a couple of names that have been sitting in the middle of the pack throughout this race starting to make an appearance here as we get near the final third of this thing.
So coming to the Geico restart zone, we're going to see that Silverback Tax Solutions green flag waving for the third time here tonight. After the second caution, Jacob Manning gets a good jump, bringing his teammate Susie with him here. It's a 1-2-3 JW Racing lead right now.
And they're looking good as they're going to wind up side by side in that race for second. Oh, Reed getting really loose, nearly gets into his teammate and nearly sacrificed himself as well. Made a heck of a save, keeping that thing pointed straight. It could have easily gone very wrong for that 51 and maybe the 53 as well.
Yeah, still really close racing. Got to be careful there. That's what I'm saying, and get real tight if you get the wrong trajectory out of 4 here, but he keeps it going, and you got to keep an eye because that is something that will kill the tires when you're on the wheel as much as some of these guys are on that exit of 4.
Yeah, it certainly is, especially this early in the run. We always kind of talk about you're not going to be able to save, you're not going to, get a lot of tire life difference in the first 5 laps, but where you will feel it is in the middle 5 laps, in the last 5 laps of a tire run. What you do in those first 5 can really affect what you feel later on in this tire run. And that 51, also see a little bit of aero damage. It looks like they're on the right side from catching that wall now, I think a second time here tonight. So that's going to be one of those things you really got to keep an eye on. Might be putting that 51 in a bad spot if this thing stays green.
Yeah, the spoiler does look a little bent as Kyle Benson kind of taking a peek there, thinks better of it, just setting himself up to eventually possibly make this pass. The 1 has been up towards the front all night, the pole sitter here tonight, but he's got some tough company around him. He's got those 3 JW cars in front of him and then 2 Phoenix Virtual Racing cars behind him, so not very friendly company around him so far.
Not at all, and then it's a whole lot of tank as well, not too far behind him as well. Logan Truitt, the lone JBR car in the top 10, kind of breaking that up as well. So there's a lot of team battles going on at this point where you got a trio of JW, a couple pairs of teammates up there, so that's going to make this race pretty interesting. We talk about it being hard to pass. Sometimes you can kind of use teammates to kind of separate a little bit of a move out there to make some of those passes a little bit easier. Oh, hard contact.
Yeah, and that's what I was saying. These dark walls, it's just really deceiving sometimes, and you're seeing that play out right here as we're watching these cameras here on the walls at Nashville Superspeedway. Awesome cameras. see just the fishtailing from this cam on the turn 4, looking towards turn 1 here. And yeah, that is a dicey turn to say the least. But so far, JW handling it very well. Manning, Susie, Reed currently occupying the podium. But like I said, a lot of hungry drivers behind them here with 32 laps to go. Who's got that speed here at the end of this thing?
And that's going to be the big question. We've seen, Manning has been pretty much the point of the field for much of this race, but we've seen Benson, we've seen Reed also have a lot of speed in those cars at different points in the runs. If this thing stays green for these last 32 laps, that might open us up to a position we haven't been in, where we're going to see a near 40-lap run to possibly close this race out. Who's done their homework on being able to stay fast that deep into a run? We've yet to see that.
Logan Truitt sending it in there, and then Logan Joyner kind of trying to pinch his line there, keep him down low. The battle between the Logans here as they come across the line to start lap 70. This is a tough pass for Logan Truitt, but we saw him making his way up towards the front in the 65 JBR Toyota Supra, so we'll see if he can make this pass on the Joyner happen here, and he does get past Logan Joyner in that Sundrop car.
Yeah, and I'm not sure if that was going to be the momentum from the inside line. Maybe a little bit of Joyner saying, I don't want to keep this car on the high line if this thing does go green the rest of the way and bust up those tires a little bit more in that atypical line or less liked line around the racetrack. So maybe a little bit of give and take there, but also that inside line so powerful. And we've seen Truitt pull off some really good passes here tonight.
Yeah, he's made it look easy in that Toyota Supra and that 65 machine. So we'll see if he can get up here, but running out of time to do so. Just 29 laps left on the board to get it done. They're going to tick off quickly here with only 2 cautions on the night. So Trent tells you might see this thing stay green all the way to the end. So it's really tough play whether you really send it here, maybe hoping for a short run, or do you play the long run game, which is not going to pick you up a lot of spots here early on.
Yeah, it's an interesting battle, and you also got to keep in mind every single car still on the lead lap, so there's still going to be a lot of competitive passing. That's going to open up the possibility that maybe we see a late caution, which we haven't typically seen here at Nashville in the SRN history here at this racetrack. So a whole lot of things that we're not really used to seeing out here in the Xfinity Series as of late, and the Silverback Tax Xfinity Series as of late, where we've kind of seen a little bit of those flurries of cautions throughout a lot of races lately. Not the case here tonight thus far, but we're also seeing not any attrition in this race, keeping everybody out there. This has been a really solid night for these guys.
Absolutely. So the 65 now to the bumper of Vincent Cortez. Can he pick up one more spot here to get on up to 6th? It's going to be a very tough pass, but he's going to do it with the speed that he has in that 65 machine. This is the best battle on the track right now, so we're going to keep watching it here.
Oh, a little bit of a slide there for the 65, trying to get some more momentum there coming off of turn 2, and just didn't get a quality run off of there. See if he could dive in deep again, but I think he's sacrificing a little bit too much by trying to dive into the in the entry of the turn, and I think he's given up a little bit too much coming out of the turn right now.
3/4 of the way through this race, and Jacob Manning still feeling pretty good about his chances. He's gotten to the front and really hasn't lost that lead to anybody since taking it from Kyle Benson many laps ago. So might come away with those most laps led here tonight, since we've had a few lead changes and a few leaders here tonight. So Susie, though, he's not going anywhere. He was almost just as fast as his teammate there on his qualifying lap. So both these guys practiced together all week. All 3 of these guys practiced together all week. So really hard to get an edge over your teammates. So they're going to have to dig deep to find one.
And we saw Manning going with those atypical lines from everybody else at New Hampshire a couple of weeks ago when he was making his charge through the field on the fresh tires late. He's running the apron at one point. Here we're seeing him kind of diamond 1 and 2, at least that last time by. Not sure if that was intentional. Maybe just got a little bit too deep into the turn and said, I'll just kind of work it into a diamond here in this one. But either way, lost about a 1/10 of a second there to his teammate last time by. Now right back onto that yellow line. So I'm thinking that maybe just a little bit of a slip up there for that 50 car, and that opened up the door just a little bit more for that 53. Continues to be a couple hundredths faster every single set of turns.
This lead pack getting tighter and tighter here. Ooh, Seth Reed, man, I'm not sure if he got into the wall there or not. That could have been a big hit for the 50.
Yeah, it didn't look like he got it. Maybe a little netcode kind of effect on that little smoke cloud that popped up there. Still looking pretty decent. I know there was a little bit of right side damage already on that car. Just kind of looked flat a few laps ago from earlier impact to that wall. But either way, the 51 still in a pretty solid position, just kind of watching his teammates there, seeing if that 53 is going to make a move here anytime soon.
Yeah, it looks clean, but man, he is really using up all the track. Gets so close to it each and every time. So maybe he knows something that these boys don't. Maybe there's some grip there on the high line. I don't know. We'll see if it works out for the 51. But right now, Kyle Benson, Daniel Bowler kind of coming back into the picture too. We've seen Benson have some long run speed here on that first run. Haven't seen Bowler up here with the lead pack, but I'm excited to see it, man. In his return to SRN, this is really his first battle in the top 5.
Yeah, he's kind of sitting there just kind of lurking in the weeds a little bit, about a 2 and 2/10 back from Manning right now, but still in that kind of position where he can strike. If they start racing each other pretty hard, he'll close in quickly, and I think he's doing a good job of conserving his stuff while still staying in that contention and holding that 5th position. But right now, this is really interesting, watching Joshua Susi trying to make up that gap. He's kind of stuck between 1/10 and 1500ths of a second the past couple of laps. Just seems like he can't break that bubble right now, trying to get to that back bumper of the 50 and maybe try to get the nose underneath him and maybe make a pass. You can see it up ahead, the 50 getting real high on that entry to 1. That's going to really tighten those two up.
Yeah, they get closer and closer after each lap. It's going to get interesting here. You know, Susi wants to go back-to-back after winning last week at New Hampshire. Jacob Manning, he wants the first win of the season for that 50 camp. And Seth Reed, he wants to just keep doing what he's doing and win races here in these last couple of seasons. So 51, he wants to get in victory lane as well. You know, I'd say everybody in this top 5 wants to get in victory lane.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I think you could win every race and still want to get into victory lane. It's one of those things. But right now, I'm starting to wonder, because the 53's had a couple of opportunities to maybe kind of put some pressure on that 50 and then just kind of eases into the next set of turns when he gets a decent run. I'm wondering if they're kind of having this little bit of strategy of, let's get a little bit deeper into this run and then start racing each other. Let's kind of run these laps out a little bit and then go for it. Just kind of thinking no point in pushing that issue this early with still 18 laps to go. Maybe get it down into the final 10, final 5 laps, and then we'll start seeing that aggression tick up.
Yeah, aggression, something that we haven't seen a lot here tonight, so we'll definitely see it probably play out here, like you said, closer to the end of the race, because like you're seeing on the screen, they are pulling away a little bit from Kyle Benson and Daniel Bowler, who were within a second not too long ago, now sitting outside of that 1 second threshold. And there you see Susi sending it up high here, trying something different.
Yeah, he kind of drifted up there a little bit. Still gets that little bit of a break from Seth Reed, I think. I think he had the opportunity to maybe stick that nose down there. I think we're just seeing them really line up and just trying to get away from this field a little bit before they start putting that pressure on each other. That's smart strategy for teammates, really. It's still early enough that you don't want to put yourselves at risk needlessly with still 16 laps to go. I think we're seeing a lot of cooperation right here.
As those laps tick off, that cooperation is going to kind of fly out the window as you see Susi get into that little dust up on the top end of that track. The marble's up there towards the wall, so see that dust cloud play out, which we've seen multiple times here tonight because these boys are getting real close to that black painted wall here at Nashville Superspeedway. 15 laps to go. Only one car a lap down. That's going to be Lucas Lyons. 28 cars on the lead lap. Still anybody's game up front here.
Yeah, I was just going to mention that, actually. Our streak of having everybody on the lead lap broken, but not by anything on track. It was a connection issue for Lucas Lyons, has him out of the running right now, as we're going to see him go a few laps down, it looks like. But as far as on-track conduct, everybody's still on the lead lap, so a very clean night here in Nashville.
Yeah, we kind of set it up, like you said. We'd run 200-plus laps here in Nashville in the last couple of seasons with only 5 cautions. Well, we're going to make that 300-plus, just over 300 laps with 7 cautions so far. So, man, it is looking like this is one of the better tracks that we have here on Speed Racing Network. And you would typically think with long green flag runs, not the best racing up front. Look at this 3-car pack with 14 laps to go. I don't know whose pick it is right now, but it's anybody's game.
It certainly is, and I think we're going to be seeing this kind of ramp up here maybe in the next 5 laps or so. I think this could get pretty interesting between these 3, as all of them in position where they could really use to win. I mean, Jacob Manning, the points leader, but he's still looking for that first one. Susie, you mentioned it, last time out got that win, but he's still sitting there in 8th in points, just ahead of Seth Reed, who's looking for his first win of the season. A little bit shocking to say that he's still looking for his first win of the season, honestly. Oh, hard hit into the wall there, that time coming off the 4 for Reed.
Yeah, that car looks pretty damaged now. I saw it for a brief second as he went by. That right side got a little bit more of a crinkle to it now.
Yeah, you could definitely see the spoiler bowed in pretty well, especially on that right side. And that's usually going to be a pretty good sign that that right side going to be pretty good and flat at this point. It already was feeling the effects of some of those wall touches earlier. That was more of a wall slap that time coming off 4.
Yeah, that has flattened that right side of that car. So you can see he's falling a little bit back of his teammates now. It's kind of become a 2-horse race here. Maybe that's going to be to the better playing for Jacob Manning, because Seth Reed was looking strong here. Susie looks strong too. But only having to worry about 1 is a lot better than worrying about 2.
Yeah, it absolutely is, and that also kind of widens the eyes a little bit of Kyle Benson and Daniel Bowdler, as they're now back within a second of Reed for the 3rd position. And don't look now, but Vincent Cortez, Logan Truitt, and Austin Reedy starting to work their way into that picture in that race for 3rd through 8th as well. They're now right in a line with Benson and Bowdler, so that race ramping up here late as well.
Yeah, we saw all these guys running together too. Austin Reedy making his way up and making some noise. It was running a little bit mid-pack not too long ago. Having some blinking issues right now. You see him come back onto the track, though, so might have to tuck in for the time being. Running 8th, so not a bad spot. But if he gets ahead of these guys and starts blinking, admins are going to take note of that.
Yeah, they certainly are. If he's in any position to put anybody else in danger, that's going to be something that will definitely catch their attention and maybe get either that kind of drop back, or if it gets bad enough, they pull down to pit road kind of treatment. We've seen that for a couple of guys lately as the weather has been kind of playing a factor with the winter kind of moving in, as Daniel Bowdler taking a little peek to the inside, didn't quite get the run to make that move, but that's actually going to pull him back away from the 1 and give Vincent Cortez an opportunity, but he gets real loose there, and that's going to move Truitt to the inside, going for that 6th position.
Yeah, Bowdler knew that was going to make it tight on the exit of 4 there. He protected the bottom. That got Vincent Cortez shuffled to the outside. Now Logan Truitt to the inside of Vincent Cortez. He wants to take 6th away from the 23. Go 3 wide into 1, or 3, excuse me.
Whew, and I think they thought better of that one, as Cortez carried a little bit of extra momentum on that outside to really get that run. And I think Reedy and Truitt both thought, you know what, that's not really a position we want to be in right now. Let's live to fight another day here. The laps are ticking down, but you still don't want to wreck yourself going for that spot. 3 wide, very tricky to pull off here.
Back out front, you see that gap growing between Jacob Manning and his teammate Joshua Susie. Seth Reed falling a little bit further back as well. So maybe if this is going to be the day that Manning comes away with it. He's got 6 more circuits around Nashville Superspeedway before he can claim his first win here in Season 4.
And he's another one of those guys. It's surprising to think that we're here in Week 8 and we're still looking for a Jacob Manning win. He obviously had a tear last season, going through that. And you got to go back to last season. It was the next to last race, so it's a 10-race drought for Jacob Manning. And caution, going to change everything.
Jonathan Byer around again here in the 13 machine for Jonathan Byer Racing. So we'll see exactly what happened here on the admin box rec replay. We'll bring it up for you. It's Tyler Murray behind him in the 16. Just
met in the middle, really. Looked like 13 trying to slide down into a lower lane. Oh, wow, close call there for the 36. But I think Byer was trying to come down to that lower lane, and Tristan Bailey just kind of sitting there and not really dropping down as much as 13 thought, and they just kind of met in that second lane. Ooh. That's a hard hit, and that's going to be a tough one there. Wow, that's going to be a tough one for the admins to kind of make that decision on, honestly.
Yeah, well, we'll see what happens, but boy, this I don't envy these boys one bit, because I had a similar situation last night. Didn't necessarily work out the best for me. It still was all right, but this is a tough choice right now. Looks like everybody's coming down, but one man, that's going to be Tyler Murray.
Oh, Tyler Murray saying, you know what, if they put that one on me, I'll drop to the back. If not, I'll happily take the lead and try to get that net gain at least, and maybe see if he can hold off everybody in a 2-lap shootout. Everybody else on pit road, it looks like.
And everybody taking actually mixed bag, yeah. 2 tire stops for Manning Reed, Benson, Susie, Cortez. 2 tires for everybody, pretty much.
Yeah, I saw a couple of guys jump up a couple of positions there, so maybe I don't think we'd see fuel only, so it might have just been pit entry getting into the stall. And actually, I take it back. There's 3 that stayed out. I think our scoring got tripped up a little bit, but it's going to be Dalton McKinney out in front.
Yeah, so a name we haven't mentioned one bit here tonight has a chance of stealing one here with the first green-white checker of the evening. We're going to have it for you when we come back. We're going to run a quick commercial break and have that green-white checker on the other side. Silverback Tax Solutions specializes in dealing with IRS tax problems. If you are receiving threatening letters from the IRS, or if the IRS has placed liens or levies on your property, Silverback Tax Solutions can help you find relief. We have worked with hundreds of people to resolve their tax problems. If you're behind on filing your taxes, it's never too late to get on the right track. Silverback Tax Solutions can help with that also. Don't let another night go by where you lose sleep worrying about the IRS or your taxes. Head over to www.silverbacttax.com or call 662-996-4357 and contact an enrolled agent today. We can help you gain peace of mind and deal with those problems for you.
With the Butt Kicker Gamer 2, what you see and what you hear is what you feel. Butt Kicker. The future is feeling.
Want to be a part of an established league on iRacing? A league that's competitive, fun, and above all fair? Look no further than Speed Racing Network. Originally known as Mid-South Madness, SRN has evolved into a league that can bring the best out in any given driver. Drivers work their way up through the ranks to hopefully one day call themselves a champion of Speed Racing Network. If you're interested in joining, don't hesitate to reach out to league admins to claim your spot today. Maybe you'll end up in the history books. If you're interested in becoming a sponsor in Speed Racing Network, feel free to head over to www.speedracingnetwork.com and reach out to an admin today. And as always, remember to go faster.
Well, Brandon, we have a lone duck out there on the track, and I don't know who's in more danger. Me and my fantasy team this week for starting Geno Smith against the 49ers, or Dalton McKinney out here with those old tires?
Either way, it's going to be a risky play, but the good news for Dalton McKinney, he's taken the home run cut. He wasn't in the top 10, hasn't been in the top 10, 15 for much of this race. Why not take this shot? 11 points behind the cut line coming in. Either way, this is likely to be a net gain if he finishes around that top 10.
Well, approaching the Geico restart zone here, the 64 is going to have to be careful. Gets out to a decent jump on those old tires. As that Silverback Tax Solutions green flag is waving here. Again, the first green-white checker of the night.
And there they go. We got Seth Reed trying to take a look to the inside. A diamond line there for Dalton McKinney. It's going to work as a block on both those lines. He's still going to hold the lead going down to the turn 3.
Yeah, he might take the white flag with this thing. I don't think so now that Jacob Manning's got a nose to the outside. He's side by side with the 64 coming to the white flag. It's a great race. Seth Reed going to take a peek to the inside. Kyle Benson to the outside of the 64. 1 lap to go. Reed spinning.
Oh, Reed into the grass, losing it, touching that apron.
Oh,
He's going to come
back up
the racetrack.
Yeah, big wreck back here, but we're going to stay with the lead. Jacob Manning and Kyle Benson, those are the only two left in contention, I'd say. But Jacob Manning with a healthy gap, he's going to go ahead around turns 3 and 4, and he's going to be looking at the start-finish line and claiming the first checker flag of the year for that 50.
Ooh, that was closer than it looked like it was going to be getting to that line, actually. Yeah. Only about a 10th separating first and second, but Jacob Manning does hold off Kyle Benson. As also here, it's a pretty fun radio chatter between the two of them and, in the background here. But Jacob Manning really had the car of the night, and it does pay off as he does get that 50 car into victory lane.
Yeah, he tried to pull a little Chase Elliott move there at the end, sliding across the line. Benson almost stole one from him there. But the 50, he's going to come down, and he is going to enjoy himself as they burn it down on the front stretch, getting his first win of the season. A great run for his teammates, JW Racing. He's got Susie there in third. Seth Reed, though, took in that spin. He got some big damage, finished 28th. Caught up some other drivers as well, too.
Yeah, that really shook up the field from about 10th on back. Really hurt him the most out of that, obviously, as he fell to the back. And you know what? We talked about where is that going to fall in for Dalton McKinney. It looked unlikely he would hold on to that lead. Did a pretty good job of it. It still brings that thing home 7th. So that was a big jump up the standings there. And that's going to be one of those moves that at the end of the regular season, you look at it, whether you're in that, if you make that playoff and you go, that's a big reason why that just happened.
Well, let's figure out what happened here. We saw Seth Reed, before we go ahead and give you the results tonight, took a turn down into the grass, came back on the track here. He's taking a look to the inside of the 64. McKinney goes on the apron here. Just gets loose. That's the danger of going on the apron.
Yeah, we kind of foreshadowed that earlier on in the race, and then trying to save it. Got hard into the 35. Collects Jeff Radke in the 8 and a few others in the process. See Adrian Schumacher as well. That's just, yeah, that's not a move. Oh, wow, and then more impact there. That's a tough one. You get why he's trying to hang on to that and staying in the throttle, but that's one that's going to be upsetting for a few guys out there in the field for sure.
Yeah, like you see these guys, it was a clean race, and they were possibly staring down a bonus point for a clean race. And, yeah, you just got to get on the brakes on at that point and cleaned out a lot of cars there.
Absolutely did. That's one of those ones that you kind of, as a racer in that field, you're hoping that you just kind of either get out of the throttle or hit the brakes and kind of cut your losses. But that's going to be something that they'll handle themselves, I'm sure. And we'll kind of get moving back towards the good here at the finish as Jacob Manning doing a nice little burnout display here on the front straightaway in Lebanon, Tennessee.
So let's pull up those results here tonight for the SRN Silverback Tax Series after race number 8. Jacob Manning, your winner. Kyle Benson comes home runner-up. Josh Susie, that's going to round out the podium. Vincent Cortez and Austin Reedy round out your top 5.
It'll be Daniel Bowdler winding up in 6th. Dalton McKinney made that Hail Mary play, and it pays off pretty well as he'll wind up in 7th. Joshua Balliette in 8th. Max Service will be in 9th. Logan Joyner rounds out the top 10.
Yeah, Devin Zimmerman, Kyle Spees, Logan Truitt, Craig Lonslager, Josh Siegfried. That's going to be the next 5, rounding out your top 15. And then Bo Tiffany, Chris Bishop, Michael Larch, Nathan De La Rosa, and Daniel Keith Jr. That's going to be your top 20 here this evening. So what do you say we go ahead and head on up to that blimp? Don't know why it's got me down there on the drone. We want to be up here in the blimp so we can get to the interview portion of tonight's race. Let's go ahead and bring Joshua Susi on up to the broadcast booth. Josh, welcome to the SRN broadcast booth. Once again, man, we saw you 2 weeks ago after the win in New Hampshire. Get your third place finish here tonight. Tell us about your run here tonight. JW looked pretty dominant for Nashville Superspeedway.
Yeah, man, it's great to talk to you again. Really good for the team, great run. Pretty frustrating for me personally, but that's just a product of this track, really. I mean, at times I felt like I was a little better than Jake, but he was hitting his marks, doing what he was supposed to do, and you can't pass here if you're running about the same speed, and you just end up building up that right front. And you saw it probably about 10 to go when I started falling off him a little bit. That was all she wrote at that point. Unfortunately, we had that late race caution, took away our 1, 2, 3, but that's how it works sometimes.
Yeah, but you do carry still a lot of momentum right now after these last couple of weeks, really charging up the leaderboard. Might be seeing you pushing around that 6th, 7th position, I think, coming out of this race as we go into that holiday break. And then you talk about carrying the same speed and being hard to pass. Whole lot of passing opportunities when we come back from that break. How you feeling about Montreal?
I'm actually really excited. I love that track, and I think it's a lot of fun. It's very underutilized when it comes to the NASCAR side of things, and the team will definitely be putting in a bunch of laps, and I feel like I have a lot to contribute to help with the speed on the overall program at the road courses. And I'm sure there's a couple guys in the league that are what you would call aliens, so to speak, at the road races. So optimistically, I think a top 5 is definitely feasible, and we'll see how strategy and everything plays out. How road courses are is basically don't make the mistake going off track, don't get caught up in anything, you have a good day. So I'm looking forward to it, and hopefully it's a good show.
Well, Josh, before we let you go and celebrate a good run tonight, you got any friends, any family, any sponsors you want to give a quick shout out to?
Everyone here at JW Racing, great team atmosphere. We really work well together. Rogue Energy and all the affiliated sponsors that come along with the team. My personal sponsor, Nitro Racing, and my Turtle Shell gang and that I hang out with. We're prepping for the Daytona 24. I'm sure you're seeing a lot of that. I want to thank all the admins doing their job here and all the behind the work stuff. And you guys putting on a great broadcast as always. I know the end result's not what I wanted, but I'll look forward to watching this broadcast regardless.
Well, we might be seeing you out there on the 24-hour circuit, so might have to link together, get some practice runs in. But, man, enjoy the holidays. We're going to have 2 weeks off, and then, like you said, you'll be out at one of your favorite tracks, Montreal. So have a good night, man, and like I said, stay safe during the holiday season, and we'll see you in a few weeks.
Absolutely, you guys too.
All right, so that was Josh Susi coming home in the 3rd position here this evening. Let's go ahead and track down Kyle Benson. There he is in Murray Reedy Motorsports' Discord. We'll bring him on up here. Old Beef Stroganoff himself. Kyle, welcome to the SRN broadcast booth. Pole sitter here tonight. Come home second. I feel your pain, but a great run here tonight in that one machine. Tell us about it here.
Yeah, just good run overall. Stayed in the top 5 all race and had some speed. Really tried to get lucky with that restart at the end, but it's tough, especially in the top 5 and on a concrete track when, it's definitely a pain to try to save tire. But you're just trying to keep with the pace or you just get run over from behind. So I'm not mad at the result. Wish it could be one spot better, but, definitely a good result overall for the team. I know Reedy got a top 5 and I think Craig finished in the top 10. But yeah, like I said, man, overall good race overall.
Absolutely, and I think it's kind of gone a little bit under the radar with you sitting in 4th in the points coming into this race, but the only 2 races that have gone wrong for you are Atlanta and Daytona, and those are kind of the wild card tracks right now. Every other race has been a top 5 this season. So what's it going to take at Montreal to keep that streak going and keep that one car moving up the leaderboard?
Well, I love a win. Want to get some road course redemption back. I'd love a win there. Just keeping consistent. Going into the playoffs here soon. I know we're getting to the point now where points are starting to matter and everything's starting to come together. But Montreal is definitely going to be a different monster. I've never ran that track ever in my life. I've maybe raced it 1 or 2 times on Formula One. But other than that, it's a nice track. I have a lot of fun with it, good fun memories with it, but never raced it on the sim on iRacing. So we're going to hope for a decent finish there, and they're just going to try to keep this momentum rolling forward.
Well, luckily you can use the $20 you earned here tonight to go ahead and buy that track and start practicing here. But before we let you go and head off into the holiday season, you got any friends, any family, any sponsors you want to give a quick shout out to?
Yeah, TJ's team hopping on board this season. Just a great foundation overall, man. Pediatric cancer, everybody hates that stuff. They're trying their best to make sure families don't pay anything. And Team Row Designs, they make great paint schemes. Just got to thank the boys on the team and you guys for a broadcast. Had a hell of a time tonight. Had fun. It's good to hear your voice again, Greg. Missed you last week, but that was other circumstances. But just had fun overall, man. Had a good fun. Enjoyed coming here every Thursday and having fun. So that's pretty much my spiel.
All right, man. Well, I appreciate the kind words, and like I told Josh, have a great holiday season. Stay safe, and we'll see you out here in 2 weeks. Take care, bud.
All right, appreciate it, man. Thank you.
All right, so that was Kyle Benson, who came home number 2 here tonight. We got one man left to talk to, and that's going to be Jacob Manning, tonight's winner. So let's bring him on up. I accidentally just moved him to the wrong room. He's not going to like that too much. There we go. Let's bring him to the right room. Jacob Manning, Greg Olenek, Brandon Domain up here in the SRN broadcast booth. Finally talking to you as a winner here. You get your first win in Season 4. I know that's going to mean a lot to you.
Yeah, of course, dude. I've been waiting forever for this one. It felt like way too long. I was hoping I was going to get it last week, or the week before that in New Hampshire, because the Cup dude who won the championship got it. And I was like, okay, I got to get it this week. Messed up the brake bias, screwed up completely. It's horrible. I got eaten up at the end completely, about wrecked everybody trying to stay up there with them. It was horrible. It was bad. It was not good. But I got redemption this week. I set the brake bias right, and it worked. I'm happy. It was good.
Well, it wasn't without a little bit of nerves, I'm sure, with that late caution there as you were pulling away from everybody and got that last little overtime restart. And I know you saw that it was about 40 lap-old tires on the inside, but it still looked like a heck of a battle trying to get around there and trying to hold off everybody else back there behind you as everybody kind of scattered there. What was that overtime finish there feeling like?
Well, I mean, it was unexpected. I should have been expecting it, to be honest. I thought I was for like at the 10 lap to go mark, and then we got to 5 lap to go, and I was like, okay, well, maybe not. And we get to 3, and I was like, all right, sweet, it's basically mine. And then the caution comes out that lap, and I was almost heartbroken. I thought I had it snagged from me. I was like, no, this is absolutely horrible. My night is ruined. And so I was like, all right, I'll make a gutsy call, put on 2 tires, came out. Turns out it was the right call to make. I figured maybe a few people might stay out, and I got lucky and it was just one. And I got lucky again, and he chose the inside. So that put me in a good position where if I could get next to him in the corner, I could probably get by him and get out to the lead, and that's just what I did. Although I was kind of hoping one of my other teammates was going to be with me there at the finish, and that didn't quite happen. I was a little sad, but we did a good job, all in all. So I'm happy.
Yeah, I bet you are after getting your first win. I know that feels good, man. But before we let you go, you got any friends, any family, any sponsors you want to give a quick shout out to?
Oh, dude, man, I know you miss this part every single time. I got all the people, and we even got a new one this week. Her name's Betsy. Betsy, man, she's #1 fan. Best in business. Rogue Energy, of course. Cody Williams Designs for giving me the sweet schemes I got this year, and more to come, hopefully, sometime soon, and helping out the team in that manner. But if I didn't already mention Rogue Energy, which I believe I did first, you can use code JW Racing, by the way, for 10% off any products on their website. Code JW Racing, it'll work. Go ahead and go get yourself some energy drink mix. Silentor Sports, Merit Mechanical, Roof Sport, and our whole team this week. We did a great job putting up practices and working as a team, communicating, doing all that good stuff, and not running into each other. So it was good. It was fun, and the usuals, admins, broadcast guys, everybody who makes the league possible. It's awesome. Thank you.
Awesome, man. Well, we appreciate all the kind words, and like I keep telling everybody, have a safe and happy holiday season. Enjoy the 2 weeks off, and we will see you when we get on out to Montreal, man. Take care.
Thank you. See you guys.
All right, so that was Jacob Manning, your winner here tonight at Nashville. And Brandon, we're done racing here on Speed Racing Network here in 2022. Onward and upward to 2023.
Man, that still sounds weird. It still sounds like we're in fall, and maybe that's just because it's still kind of a little bit warm. But yeah,
it is cold here in the Carolinas.
It's still in the 50s out here, but no, I mean we've seen some great racing all season long and all year long, going back to the start of season 3. We're only midway through season 4, so we're going to keep this going, but get to spend some holiday time with friends and family first. So hopefully everybody that's watching, everybody that's part of the league, has a very happy and safe holiday season. We'll be back here in 2023 waiting, as we got a lot of road courses coming up here pretty soon, and a lot of cookie cutters as we make that chase of the playoffs and those final pushes.
Yeah, so like we kept saying, next race on the book for these boys is going to be January 5th, same time, same place, right here on Speed Racing Network, the Maple Leaf 100. But that is going to do it for us here tonight. Please, everybody, enjoy the 2 weeks off. Please have a safe and happy holiday season. Brandon, Merry Christmas to you. I know we will be talking quite often, especially with the World Cup final coming up. We're excited for that. But yeah, to everybody out there, thanks for making 2022 a great year here on Speed Racing Network. Can't thank you guys enough. We wouldn't do it if it wasn't for you. So please come on back here in 2023. But that's going to do it for us here tonight. Jacob Manning is your winner. So once again, everybody, please have a good night and go faster.